Hi, my name is Cesar Regalado. Today I will be discussing about the Global Mobility Program, which takes place in Mexico. I'm currently taking managing the global workforce with Dr. Deanne Sanchez. Alright, so a quick overview of the context. I'll be discussing about a little brief history about the government, understanding the culture of Mexico, customs of Mexico, the protocols of formalities, the greetings, dress and gestures, gifting and dress, discussing about the business practices when conducting business, the appointments, punctuality, and local time. We'll touch on negotiating, business, entertaining, tips on doing business in Mexico. One of the companies we'll be discussing is none other than Telmex. We'll discuss a little bit about the background, and we'll also touch about the expatriates, repatriates, human resource management, and global staffing. Alright, so a little history about Mexico. So the Mayans, the Olmecs, and the Aztecs were beginning of the Mexican Empire. The Mexican Empire was destroyed by the disease of the Spanish conquistadors. So there is quite a bit of history in which Mexicans take a lot of pride. Most definitely, anything that has to do with Aztec culture, Mayan culture, there is that sense of pride. A little bit about continuing. Around 1700, Mexico was considered as the new Spain. Which in 1810, Father Miguel Hidalgo declared independence from Mexico. With that being said, there was also Vicente Guerrero, which is also a general, and actually was the second president of Afro-Mestizo descendants, along with Guadalupe Victoria, who was the actual president of Mexico. The Mexican Constitution was approved in 1824, and the Mexican president, Carlos Salinas, signed the North African Trade Agreement. So a little bit about the government of Mexico. So it is considered the United States of Mexico. That is the official name. Officially known is a federal republic. So the president is considered the head of the government. The president has 6 years terms and cannot be re-elected to office, but may choose their successor before they leave office. Mexico's government includes a bicameral legislature, a Senate and Chamber of Deputies, as well as the Supreme Court, which has been known and considered very similar to here in the United States. So we'll touch a little bit on understanding cultures of Mexico. Mexico is the official language. It's actually one of the French was considered to be spoken by the upper class in the past. A major 90% is considered Roman Catholic. 5% is of Protestant. Political authority and the police are not trusted by the local people due to the corruption experienced in Mexico. People are fearful of the police force and the government, which is very well known, not just Mexico, but most definitely throughout Latin America as well. Understand the culture, customs of Mexico. So I'll touch a little bit on this here. Information is readily accepted for purposes of discussion, but little movement in attitude is seen. Negotiation strategies, filling generally a formal basis of truth. Value systems, behavior, unhappy, long-lasting history with the U.S. makes Mexicans suspicious. I think that generates from the day of Santana. So Mexico protocols and greetings. A little bit of the greetings. Men usually greet with a handshake, while women would pat each other on the forearm or shoulder. If women are close, they will give each other a hug or a kiss. While meeting for a second or third time, a hug will be given rather than a handshake. When invited to a party, nodding to the whole crowd is equivalent to giving a handshake to everyone. Before leaving, handshake to everyone is expected. This is throughout. This is not just Mexico, but I think also very known throughout Latin America, these types of gestures or greetings. Mexico protocol, forms, dress, and gestures. So a little bit about the titles are very important to Mexicans. Therefore, dressing by the direct title is preferred. Once familiarized, then move to the first name basis. And you'll hear this from time to time. If you're talking to an attorney, for instance, it'll be Licenciado Gomez, or etc. When conversing, being physically closer is common gesture. In Mexico, pulling away is considered to be rude. Mexican men are friendlier and make a lot of physical contact. Avoid putting hands in the pockets which is considered to be rude. Alright, moving forward. Mexico protocol, gifting, and dress. So when visiting for the first time, a gift is not required but recommended. Gifting small electronics with a playlist is considered to be personal and liked by Mexicans. They like accepting gifts that are thoughtful. And I think that just goes to show you anywhere you conduct business or anywhere that you're building a relationship with that individual. It doesn't have to be serious, but this is all this is taken into consideration. Attending a dinner, a guest is not expected to bring a gift. If we're to bring one, candy or flowers is desirable. Silver trinkets are not recommended. For businessmen are to wear conservative suits, and women are to wear pantsuits or a dress. Jeans are considered to be inappropriate. Alright, Mexico business practices. So we'll discuss a little bit about the appointments, how local time, how punctuality is in a business environment. So punctuality is not a priority, but it is admired. When it comes to business, then punctuality is important, which makes perfect sense. One thing I do know is, which is heavily known in Mexico, not sure in other parts, but siestas are also very important. So it's a very laid back atmosphere per se. Being late 30 minutes to an hour is normal. Meetings can be between breakfast, lunch, dinner, or counterparts has that capability to select. Mexico is 1 hour behind the U.S. Standard Time. So a little bit about Mexico business practices especially when you're conducting any kinds of negotiation. The atmosphere is gracious, friendly, and laid back. It's not really tensed, but Mexicans want to get to know that person. They want to know who they're conducting business, and eventually, once an agreement is reached, then most likely they would move forward. Decisions are made at the upper management, but the consultation is handled by the associates when negotiating. Creating personal friendships is important in Mexico. Regardless of social status, Mexicans value any individual's integrity. But building that friendship it is important, because any time that you're either conducting business or you're building that relationship, you want to get to know the person that you're conducting these types of contracts and so forth. Moving forward, Mexico business practices. So business entertaining. Business meetings are preferred during breakfast or lunch. If invited to a Mexican household, there will be no discussion over business. Family quality is important. And this is a time where everyone's relaxed. It's not business 24/7. When there's time for family, then this is definitely the quality of that point in time is very, very important to the Mexican community. Good topics of discussion is football, baseball, and bullfighting. Bullfighting is still an important sport with a lot of Spanish influence, so we'll thank the Spaniards for that. When attending a restaurant for business meeting, it is customary that the eldest pay the tab for the whole group. Remember to reciprocate that favor. Helpful tips doing business in Mexico. So Mexican can hide their true feelings. It's known with aggressive eye contact is considered a bit threatening. So I guess if you stare for a period of time, then it's not considered too friendly. Family is single most important institution in Mexico. Knowing the family is the only way to know a person in Mexico. Creating a personal relationship with that person is far more important than expertise, which is very important. So we're going to touch a little bit about Telmex, which is a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation which has been established in Mexico. Telmex stands for Teléfonos de Mexico. Teléfonos de Mexico was founded in 1947 when Mexican Miguel Valdez merged with German company Ericsson in Mexico. The headquarters is located in Mexico City, and currently chairman is Mr. Carlos Slim, which is known as one of our wealthiest billionaires. American Mobile was once the mobile arm of Telmex, but in 2001, American Mobile was split off and grew larger than the former parent company. Telmex background. Alright, we'll discuss a little bit about the background here. Telmex is known for its service of providing fixed line telephone services, including long-distance, international callings, and internet. By 1999, Telmex began to acquire subsidiaries outside of Mexico. Telmex acquired American Mobile, which provided cellular services in Mexico and certain parts of Latin America. So it's definitely known throughout Latin America. places such as Argentina, Chile, Telmex has a very strong known presence in that. Carlos Slim remains the owner of both of these corporations. All right, moving forward. So we're going to touch a little bit about the expatriates. What to consider when moving to Mexico. And renting in Mexico is unregulated. Therefore, landlords can increase rent or shorten notice. So beforehand, you want to, always know exactly what these laws are or bylaws are. Being fluent in Spanish is vital because business contracts written in Spanish is considered to be recognized by law. Contracts are written both in English and in Spanish, but Mexico will only recognize Spanish version. One of the things as well, when entering Mexico, you want to be mindful of what households to bring. And this goes any individual coming into Mexico. You want to know what those laws are and what assets you do bring, because it could be temporary. You also want to be aware of the currencies dated prior to 1993. Is considered to be worthless. Always check dates on that bill. And this goes back to currencies, or a lot of these bills do change over time, and you want to make sure that you're dealing with the correct bills. So you want to make sure you're on top of that. A dangerous nation for expatriations. So political corruption is what Mexico is known for through the eyes of the media, and there has been a lot of attention lately, unfortunately, but young expatriates are making their way to Mexico due to turmoil with their nation and lower cost of living. Recently, Mexico has inherited 7,000 Venezuelans due to their nation's turmoil. So there's a lot of Latin American countries that do see their way up to Mexico for prosperity and in ways to help elevate themselves. The paperwork to receive a visa or residency is just a bit more complicated in the U.S. than it is in Mexico. Now, for repatriates, the adjustment of living in a foreign culture for a period of time. So families have reported to return to due to inaccurate expectations. There's a culture shock that occur when repatriates return to their country of origin due to amplified meetings. Mexico provides training for their repatriates to integrate them back into the custom norm. And I think that just happens when you leave your home country or country of origin and you return back. There is that aftershock, which is very well known, especially if you live out here in the States for quite some time and you go back home to Mexico. A lot of things do change over time. Mexico Human Resources Management and Global Staffing. So let's touch a little bit about this here. Looks like recruiting in Mexico is not difficult to find due to affordable workers. The workers are there. Trying to staff higher positions is more of a difficult task. So I think it's a little bit more difficult to truly find positions in fields that are in demand. It could be doctors, it could be engineers, or high level management. To fill these positions, certain companies resort to expatriates, which is most definitely known throughout the Mexican region. Human resource management have to take into account of compensation. frequent promotions or pay increase indicates that there is a connection to upper management. So there's definitely a hierarchy to that. HRM policies, procedures in Mexico needs to take into account of their reputation as a department. And HM is a huge stake in the company's success. Alright, now I think this will conclude my presentation. Thank you, everyone.